What was it like growing up from a wrestling standpoint in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with there wasn't the visibility of college wrestling probably at that point, and you probably didn't get a chance to see a whole lot of college wrestling, but wrestling is starting to thrive down in this area of the country. Can you compare and contrast what it was like then versus now?
It's night and day. I remember there was only like one, maybe two clubs around the area. Now there's a ton of them. Kids are wrestling year-round all the time. It's the quality of wrestling from Florida. When I go to the Ironman and watch some of these teams up there, to the Beast, this weekend the knockout tournament was going on. I was looking at the teams competing and all the nationally ranked kids, and Florida's kicking out good kids. So it's different from that sense, that the quality because of the clubs and just how much. But I also think it's the video and the amount of wrestling they get to see from video on live wrestling, that if they're not here, there's kids all over the country watching this event, or watching the Midlands or the Scuffle, and watching dual meets constantly, dual meets on TV or on video. We didn't have that. We would get the amateur wrestling news and open it up and look for dual meet results, so you didn't get to see a lot of it. My first college duel that I got to watch was the one that I was in when I was starting my true freshman year for Michigan State. That was a new thing for me. I'd never been to a college duel meet. So I got to see some open tournament with the Sunshine Open, where I got to see some college wrestling, but other than that, my first college match was the first college experience for me. So it was very, very new. When I got in a college room, it was very, very new. Where these guys are at the Olympic training centers, the regional training centers, they're getting that experience when they're in high school to work out with college guys. And so there's guys on my team from the Elams, Rocky and Zach, to Jeremiah Kent, that grew up, and the other guys from Tolton. All those guys have grown up and they're coming to our RTC practices, so they're getting to work out and learn and be exposed to the college room. I never had that. I was not exposed to any of that. It was just trying to figure it out on your own.
So I was going to ask, how did you find your way? How'd you get
You know what, I didn't want to wrestle. I was a football player, so I was doing it because my dad was a football coach in high school, and he said it would be good for football if I went and wrestled, because I was going to go out for basketball. And just fell in love with it in my sophomore year, made it to the state and didn't even place, but I was right there in some close matches with the second and third placer, and just decided I'm giving up football, I'm going to go full go at this. And I would spend my summers in Long Island, New York, with my cousin, who was a Division II All-American, and learning from them, working for them all day, and then at night learning how to wrestle. And I would grab people constantly and say, teach me how to wrestle. High school coaches to clubs, I'd find clubs. I remember I was telling my kids, don't do this, but I would hitchhike to get to clubs, because I moved down here to live with my grandmother, and my family was still in Orlando, to be coached by Randy Miller, who was one of the great coaches down here. So I just became possessed or obsessed with it, and wanted to find good people to be around and to work out with, and I had to play catch up, and I did. It was amazing the amount I learned in those few years that I only wrestled for 4 years in high school, and got the opportunity to go to Michigan State.
How often were you hitchhiking?
Every once in a while when I didn't want to spend money on the city bus or couldn't get a ride with a teammate, but I wanted to get to club practices, and I found a way. When kids give me excuses today, I'm like, you know what? The ones that want to achieve will find a way. And I'm not saying you need to go out and do that type of stuff, but you can find ways to be successful. And I think kids sometimes come up with excuses why they can't do it. Tell me why you can't. How am I going to get there? Find a way. There's somebody that's probably driving out there, call them up. And so I was that way. I met people at tournaments and would be picking their brain. And a kid said to me, why don't you come down for spring break and hang out in Fort Lauderdale? And when my family was living, and I did. I took my whole spring break, went down to Fort Lauderdale, and next thing I know, I told my parents, I want to go to school at St. Thomas, because there's something special going on there. The guys, the coach, the kid I'm working out with, Vic Blasucci, he's unbelievable. I want to train with him. And next thing I did, I said, I'm going to school there and live with my grandmother, who was living down here. And my family was unbelievable to back me on that they knew I had this vision and this dream to get better, and I was working at it, and they kind of let me go with it. And sometimes I step back when a kid comes to me and says, hey, I want to do this, or I think I want to be this or that, and instead of, we can sometimes crush the dream and say, you can't do that, you're not good at that, and I wasn't good at wrestling, but they were like, if that's what you want to do, go do it, and we'll support you. So.